2 lawmakers shot, 1 killed, 1 seriously injured. Police are still searching for the suspects.
Walz, the mayor of Brooklyn Park. We're here today because an unspeakable tragedy has unfolded in Minnesota. My good friend and colleague, Speaker Melissa Hortman, and her husband Mark were shot and killed early this morning in what appears to be a politically motivated assassination. Our state lost a great leader, and I lost a dearest of friends. Speaker Hortman was someone who served the people of Minnesota with grace, compassion, humor, and a sense of service. She was a formidable public servant, a fixture and a giant in Minnesota. She woke up every day determined to make this state a better place. She is irreplaceable, and we've been missed by so many. Minnesota's thoughts and prayers are with her family, her loved ones, her children, and her parents. My prayers also go out to State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, who were each shot multiple times. The Hoffmans are out of surgery at this time and receiving care, and we are cautiously optimistic they will survive this assassination attempt. This was an act of targeted political violence. Peaceful discourse is the foundation of our democracy. We don't settle our differences with violence or at gunpoint. In the state of Minnesota, and as recently as last week, in the most closely divided state legislature in the country, we sat down, we worked things out, we debated, we shook hands and compromised, and we served the state of Minnesota together. We proved that it's possible, even in these politically charged times, to find compromise and adhere to the principles of democracy and civil discourse. We must all, Minnesota and across the country, stand against all forms of political violence. At this precipice moment we're on, this tragic act here in Minnesota should serve as a reminder to all of us. The democracy and the debates in the halls of Congress, in state houses, in school boards, is a way to settle our differences peacefully and move society to a better place. We're collaborating with all local, state, and federal agencies on a full investigation. We're committed to keeping Minnesotans informed as the situation continues. I assure you that those responsible for this will be held accountable, and each and every one of us are committed to making sure that a tragedy like this never repeats itself in Minnesota or across this country. I'd now like to turn it over to my public safety team to fill you in on the specifics of this ongoing investigation.
It's sad. People tired, man. Debating in the halls and nothing gets
Thank
done.
you, Governor,
It's
and
sad.
thank you, everyone, for being here today. My name is Drew Evans, and I'm the superintendent at the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. I want to start by just expressing our deepest sympathies to the communities, the family, the friends, and everybody that cared about the individuals that were gunned down today. When we have individuals like this in our political leadership, they're not only political leaders, but they're members of the community, well-known members of the community, that the tragedy in a situation like this is not only for them, their friends and families, but us collectively, the communities they represent, us as a state of Minnesota as a whole. About 2 a.m. this morning, there was an original call in the city of Champlin where there was an individual that had shot Senator Hoffman and his wife. Police responded to that location. They were dealing with that and working through that process overnight. And then later on, at approximately 3:35, that another call came in when it was officers proactively checking because they knew of the incident that occurred, and they were going to check on Speaker Hortman at that time, at which time Brooklyn Park police officers encountered the individual who immediately fired at them, and they exchanged gunfire, and then the individual was able to escape during that exchange of gunfire. At the residence in Champlin, there was life-saving measures that were provided there. Both individuals were transported, as was previously noted, and they both received surgeries for their injuries at the hospital. And their conditions are at this time, both those individuals, Senator Hoffman and his wife, are both alive at this time, but they suffered gunshot wounds and are obviously in a difficult situation. But we're cautiously optimistic that they will continue to improve. At this time, it is a very active scene still, as you've seen. The Brooklyn Park Police Department, along with other...
So, of course, we just heard from Democratic Governor Tim Walz before he took the stand. He called Democratic House Representative Melissa Hortman irreplaceable and explained just how deeply she'll be missed. He also said Democratic State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette were shot multiple times and had surgery. Governor Tim Walz is cautiously optimistic that they will survive. Of course, we will continue to follow this all throughout the day here on...
That's crazy. So Minnesota Representative Melissa Hartman was killed and Senator John Hoffman. So you got Hartman and Hoffman. Hoffman was killed or shot with his wife multiple times. It seemed like, so they killed, damn, that's crazy. 2 separate incidents, like hours from each other. This seems like a coordinated attack. I ain't one. I know they say protesters are paid and all this, but this seemed like it was really, really sad. Let me see something. See if anything else out there.
Let's go now to former D.C. homicide detective and Fox News contributor Ted Williams. Ted,
and people are the politicians think they could just, and this is different. Like, this is a different thing. I'm like, oh, you heartless. This is not. When you sit there and you got people struggling paycheck to paycheck day after day, and y'all sit there and the lawmakers go in and they have their little squabbles and they come out and tell us why they can't get along, why your life can't be better, why the eggs ain't getting cheaper, or why jobs or this and that. People are sick. People are sick and tired, and things like this happen. It's sad. We watch movies. Everybody watch movies and shit and see this happens all the time in the movies. Like, hey, something happened. People don't like the way you're doing something. They feel like y'all mistreating them, and it's Republican, Democrat. People are getting tired. Like, yo, the government's supposed to be for us. The government is supposed to be, we tell them what we want, and then they go do it. The majority rules. Everybody ain't gonna be on the same page, but it's 51% of the people want something, and that's the way it goes. The other 49% can't say it. But you got these politicians, it could be a special interest group of 20,000 people, and the politician voting for the way that they go because they're getting paid by them. And you got all these other millions of people like, what? They did that? Like, did we all say that? Like, he made his own deal, and they make this deal, or they making a deal with AIPAC or whoever. It's like, whoa, the police, we don't want that. But let's see, hold on.
Thank you for being here. A lot to digest here. The thing that stands out is that we've got an active manhunt in a residential area that is under lockdown for a man who is heavily armed, seemingly sophisticated in his attack.
Because he escaped. Usually we hear attack like this, the person get put down. He escaped and was able to shoot out with the police and get away. Like,
wearing a police uniform. Where do you go from here, Ted? What are the things that your top line concerns?
Well, my first concern is this just limited to that area and those politicians in that area?
It better be, because if it happened in another state, man, it's going to be fucking locked down.
Is this something that is that could very well be nationwide? That is my concern. Is there group or one individual out here that's targeting lawmakers? We know that, according to the authorities, that they have this manifesto that had the name of numerous lawmakers on it. I would have to agree with your previous guests that the law enforcement officers know that this is involving more than just one individual. Probably. That there are perhaps other.
Because it was hours away. He did that, and he got that, and then he got away. Nah, I believe it's probably more
individuals that are actually involved in this, and this took a certain kind of a sophistication and planning, and you can tell that by the fact that the person impersonated a police officer, had a law enforcement uniform on, and I would assume then believe that that is why the Hortmans and the Horstmans opened their door because they saw a person in uniform. And that also, Brian, creates a problem for law enforcement officers. Because remember, law enforcement officers that are on this manhunt, they're also dressed in police uniforms.
Yeah, the thing I'm thinking about, you bring up an excellent point, is that you want to find this person as quickly as possible, but there are a couple of things that are slowing them down. One, you're in a residential area with innocent folks all over the place. And two, the person you're looking for is wearing a police uniform.
And if it's more than one, you could be a police officer out there searching. It could be 7 of y'all, and 3 of them play for the red team, and they take them all out. Bah, they get somewhere in the woods, boom, boom, they turn on them, shoot them. Now they out there. They don't know how this person look, you can't even, you got to be careful. Senators are going to be like, wait, are you, like, I need to know, like, hey, Sheriff, I need you to come here. I know your face. I need you to send me 5 guys that you know is good.
That has to slow down any kind of manhunt, does it not?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It puts law enforcement at a different height of alert in looking for.
And what if he was really the police and then he left? Or does maybe the senator, the lawmakers who's still alive, maybe he remember what it said on his name tag. What was it? Did it say Officer Smith, Sergeant, or what?
This killer or killers, and so what they're going to do is methodically go through that community. I heard one of your guests say that the person could very well be holding someone hostage. Yeah. So I would ask that individuals in that community, if you know someone, try to stay in communication with them, because we don't know where this killer is. He could still be in the area, or he could very well have escaped the area. But again, the question is this incident, these sad incidents, are they limited to that specific area, or is this something more sinister that's going on not only in Minnesota, but perhaps around this country?
The fact that this suspect was wearing a police uniform, had a police vehicle, by all intents and purposes, not just any police uniform, it looked like the real thing. And that vehicle, not only, besides that being a horrific detail in this attack.
Yeah, did they shoot another cop and like they know a cop and they shoot him and take his uniform? Is there a cop missing out there? They need to do like a all hands thing where everybody take account of all the police officers, where they at. If they're on vacation, call you. I'm just checking on you. You good, Smith? All right, cool.
Could that not also be the thing that leads them to the suspect? Because not everybody has access to a police vehicle, and there's got to be something that they can do to retrace the steps, given the fact that he had that vehicle with the lights on outside of the home of these politicians.
You cut the lights on the
Absolutely.
Shit, huh?
That vehicle now is in the hands of the federal agents, and I am sure that they are going through that vehicle with a fine-tooth comb. And that vehicle will give them a great deal of information. It would not surprise me if they have a specific focused suspect as the result of that vehicle and the contents of that vehicle. So the investigation, while that whole area is in fact a crime scene, they are focusing specifically on that vehicle right now, because that vehicle holds the clue to the killer in this case, of these individuals, unfortunately.
And obviously it held one of the biggest clues, which was the manifesto that police said they found in that police vehicle with a list of politicians' names, which led them to conclude that this was a politically motivated assassination of one former House Speaker and her husband, and as well as the attempted assassination of State Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette, who, by the way, at last check, they were shot multiple times or out of surgery, and we'll give you an update as we get. When the FBI is next.
All right, Brian, so here we are again, another awful tragedy, people using violence to. The locals are the ones that are initially responding. I actually have worked threats to, senators here in Florida. I've worked these types of investigations in the past, and they will determine who has the best jurisdiction, what the charges would potentially be. But right now, the number one priority is the safety of the community, like you mentioned. This individual did interact with legitimate law enforcement went out the back, and now we have the manhunt going. Number one priority, keep the community safe. FBI is going to be on the ground helping with, conducting the crime scene armed and dangerous. He is desperate. I think a very important piece of evidence that the FBI or any law enforcement agency would be looking at, was there a ring doorbell camera right there at the front door when they approached the door of the senator's home and this woman's home as well? They're going to be looking for that. Obviously, the vehicle is filled with evidence. That is a treasure trove of
attack against state lawmakers. Our Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI are investigating the situation, and they will be prosecuting anyone involved to the fullest extent of the law.
They just saying stuff we already know. Oh my God. Prayers to these people, families, their friends. Like they said, 2 sets of husband and wife both targeted. The dude on some Jason Bourne shit, Mission Impossible, dressed up, know how to speak the lingo of law enforcement. Hey, how you doing? Blah, 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 whatever. I'm assuming maybe they seen him before or something. Like if some random person walk up and you a police officer for that like town or whatever, you might be like, where you from? I know you. Whatever. Like, unless he's like, hey guys, how you doing? Blah blah. Yeah. I came. I don't know. I don't know cops. If you're a cop, let me know when you know. Or were they from different jurisdictions or something? Or is the Minnesota police fucking force so big that you probably wouldn't know? Like I guess NYPD wouldn't know the cops wouldn't know every cop that pull up, right? Like I'm just like Minnesota. I'm thinking like it's like a small town vibe where they at, but maybe it's not. And that's crazy to just answer the doorbell, put yourself in the position of the lawmakers. You answer your doorbell, think, oh, it's a police officer. Like they could want anything, right? You're representative. They could be coming. You might be used to different guests, and you open the door and just bah. That's some cold-hearted assassin shit. This is gonna be interesting. We're gonna see some update on this. I'm gonna stay informed on this. Let me know what y'all think, Cave Dweller. This is crazy.